everyone. Welcome to the live jury Q&A of One Up Big Brother Season 1. I am the host, Nathan, and we have our two finalists here to give their final pleas as to why they deserve to win not only the first season of One Up Big Brother, but also earn the grand prize of $100 through PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. We will bring in the jurors one by one. Some will not be able to attend, but they did leave their questions, which I will read out aloud to both of our finalists. However, it is now time for me to bring in both our finalists. First up, I'd like to introduce Soul.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Soul and Zach are here. If you want to get on video, that'd be great.
Hello.
Hello. How are we
Can
feeling?
you hear me?
Yeah.
Pretty good. Oh, y'all, I just want to warn you, it is storming where I live, so if the power goes out, I'll join on my phone.
Can't be nearly as bad as the Big Brother Galaxy live jury Q&A when my Wi-Fi completely went out and then that went haywire. But hey, we got new Wi-Fi, new home. Who dis? Budget. Anyways, before we get going into this thing, what?
Sorry, I accidentally opened the YouTube link and it played really loud.
Oh, no, you're fine. First and foremost, congratulations to both of you. I know I went down this whole thing yesterday, but I'm going to say it again. You both are so deserving of this. This is, again, probably one of the most worthy final twos that I've ever had in my entire life. I truly think there's a case for both of you to win. I'm extraordinarily proud of you. You are the reason why I came back to host. I was either going to come back into this after 3 years and be heavily disappointed, which was a very high likelihood, or I could have been reassured that I still have this passion for what I do when it comes to hosting. And you both have reassured that tenfold. One of two of the best games I think I've ever had to witness. Complete dominance. So congrats, truly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to get going now. So we're going to start with opening statements. Your opening statement, you will have exactly 5 minutes to make your opening statement. If you go over, I will begin to try to cut you off. We are trying to keep this on schedule, keep this moving and grooving. People have lives, and I want to keep this short and sweet. However, if there's someone who wants to go first, feel free. Whoever goes first this time will have to go last in the second time, and vice versa. So you two can decide what you want to do first. If you have a stronger opening, this is maybe a good time to do that. Up to you.
Zach, it's whatever you want to do.
I was literally just about to say the same thing.
Okay.
You can start.
Okay. I'll start. All right.
Move everyone
Are you gonna count me in, or am I just gonna go? All right. Okay. Jury, I sit before you feeling many things. Happy being one of them, for obvious reasons. I also definitely feel nervous, whatever questions you plan on throwing my way. I feel upset given this has been a very emotional journey of a season for me. I feel relieved that this season has finally come to a close after 30-something days. Orgs, at least to me, can be very draining. I don't play them often, but when I do, I put my absolute everything into them. I've been sprinting for the past 30-some days straight, and to some extent, I feel tired. But most of all, I feel very lucky. Zach and I are both going to give our whole spiel about why we are deserving and the moves we made and the resume this and resume that. But at the end of the day, for either of us to get to this point, to be sitting at this point, it took an extreme amount of luck. Given slight adjustments to how different things in the season played out, some by pure chance, any combo of you jury members or even pre-jury members could have easily found yourself sitting in these same chairs, preparing to give your spiel instead. So I now sit in this chair beside Zach by some combination of hard work, strategy, social plays, competition wins, but most of all, luck and feeling very grateful. When you make your decision this evening or tomorrow, I hope you take everything both Zach and I say into consideration. At the end of the day, it is just a game, but it has been a long, emotional game, and it is important for someone worthy of the crown to be crowned. I think I speak for both Zach and I when I say we are proud of each other and we are happy for each other regardless of the outcome. More happy for ourselves, obviously, if we win, but happy nonetheless. During the application process, we were asked a question about what archetype or persona we are. And my answer to that was, I'm a devil with a heart. And understanding what I meant by that, and when I said that, is key to understanding a lot of my moves and the way I play this game. I'm not going to sit here and say I played an honorable game because I didn't. You want to give the honor vote, then give it to Zach because that wasn't me. When I play, I find a select few that I'm going to hitch my wagon to and I ride it out with them no matter what. I keep my integrity with them, but for everyone else, not a word that comes out of my mouth can ever be trusted. Almost every strategic-based comment I'd make to anyone had some sort of alternative motive to it, whether it was an attempt to mislead you in a poor direction, distract you from something else going on, or maybe it was an outright lie to deceive you. So much of my game was based around knowing what cards to show people at what times. I woke up, I went to work, I came home, I lied to you guys, I ate dinner, I went to bed, repeat. I was so willing to throw anyone under the bus at any point, except for the only people I pledged my honest loyalty to, that being Bree and Zach. I've played orgs long enough to know my strengths and my weaknesses, and I know for my sake, I need a strong base and solid players to be 100% honest with. Otherwise, I get too paranoid. If I don't have a solid base to channel all my wacky ideas and paranoia to, I go berserk. I had my base to keep me calm, cool, and collected when need be, but I also had my killer instinct to play this game hard and cutthroat when need be. An obvious critique that can be brought up about my game is that I frequently played for the sake of Bree, Zach, and I, and made moves to advance the three of us, and not just myself. I've admitted to playing this way in these final few rounds of the game, so I'm not going to deny that. I do not think Zach played much dissimilarly from that either, but I'll let him speak for himself. But regardless, if I lose your vote because of that, and because you do not respect play like that, I understand. There are several reasons I can think of as to why I shouldn't win, to be fair. The fact that I was kind of an a-hole and a coward throughout various portions of the season. Say what you will about Kevin in that whole situation, but it was definitely cowardly of me to never speak to the man and keep his messages ignored. I pretty unfairly went after and turned my back on many of you after being pretty unprovoked, the first of which was definitely Elijah. And as I already talked about, I had various points of luck, but if you can put all that aside, I think there's a lot about my game to consider. I am the only person this season besides Aquila to never have a vote cast against them. 0. I was rarely nominated, only touching the block briefly during the triple, and had no votes cast against me, and then by default after losing the final HOH. I am the only person to vote correctly every single time I was able to cast a vote. Admittedly, I didn't get my way at the Emily round, but my voting record stayed clean throughout the entire season. I played hard, and I put the work in from the very beginning of this game. I remember staying up as late as I could the first night so I could be the first one to talk to Kevin and Ali after they had busier afternoons with their improv and murder mystery events. Immediately night one, I was making calls with Will and Zach, trying to solidify tight bonds with them, and those two bonds would prove to be some of my most fruitful bonds throughout the entire season. And it didn't stop there. Nearly every day of this game, barring a few busy days, I woke up and said, what do I need to do today to further my position? What do I need to do today to repair and build more trust? What do I need to do today to prove I am worthy of being here on this stacked cast of players and characters? I put in the work and the effort to get to this point and earn my spot and played a game I am proud of, regardless of the outcome. I made all the social connections I needed to in the first third to give me as many options and paths as possible to navigate through the mid game. I made the strategic cuts I needed to in the mid game to get myself, Bree, and Zach to the end, and I won multiple crucial endgame comps to seal that deal. I never stopped, even on my break days. I was thinking about things I could do. There was never a true rest day. I remember early on in the game, Ali and I were trying to have our first one-on-one call, and Ali was at his baseball game. He was like, I'll call you when I get home. And I was out in my car. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Time kept ticking, and eventually it's like way past my bedtime. And he finally like, yo, I'll call you in the morning, 9 a.m. I'm like, 9 a.m., got it. I changed my whole schedule, set my alarm. 9 a.m. comes around, no Ali. Finally gets back to me at like 2 p.m. with a, sorry, bro, tonight though. At that point, I'm just laughing. But another funny story. Week 1, James versus Kevin on the block. I go to literally every one-on-one saying I was leaning towards getting rid of Kevin. I realize it's not happening. I do my best to pivot, and the next morning, Kevin and I call, and then he pitches me a final 2 after I was one of the only ones to that actually wanted him out there. It shows how much I think staying up that first night of waiting paid off, and is a testament to my dedication to the season and putting in the work I needed to at different points to get to where I am. But that's about all I have to say for right now. I look forward to you all hitting me with the most heat you got. But yeah, okay.
Thank you very much, Sol. Very well said.
Thank you.
Okay, Zach, it is now your turn to give your opening speech. You will have exactly 5 minutes as well.
Okay, tough act to follow. I did not write an opening speech word for word, but I do have some things that I would like to say. Firstly, congratulations to Sol. I'm extremely proud of both of us, and no matter what happens here, I'm gonna be so grateful to have met you, and I just really can't thank you enough. You really made this experience worth it. Basically, I think that no matter where you look at it, I have had kind of a rough path to get to Final 2. I don't think that there was ever a week where I wasn't on the tip of somebody's tongue as somebody that needs to go. I haven't had the opportunity to play quietly. I haven't had the opportunity to play in the shadows or the sidelines or anything. I have had to fight to get here. And I feel like I have put everything into this. I have been so dedicated. I've tried to win everything that I could, barring a few vetoes. I genuinely cannot say enough that I think this season I've had such an upward trajectory, just in my opinion, of my game physically, my game strategically, as well as I feel I portrayed myself as a person. My main thing that I can say about my game that I think differs from Souls is that I did try to play with some form of humility, and I feel like I tried to play with integrity, and I did try to play with the idea that you guys are people and not pieces on a chessboard that I can control. I really tried to get to know all of you in a way that is not only beneficial for my game to try and make you guys think that I'm cute and funny, so you'd want to keep me, but also because I think that to a certain extent, I needed all of you and I needed to know everything about you in a way that I need to understand where you're going to come from and a decision that you're going to make, how you're going to react to something that I say or do, or what I decide to do with power. And I think that I did accomplish that to some extent. I think that no matter what, I think that Soul made connections with everybody, and I am extremely proud of him. I think that he ate that down. But I think that I made the connections that I needed to make to get here. And I think that every single bond that I made that was a true bond only benefited me. I never had somebody lash out at me. I never had somebody, well, other than Kevin, but that was kind of deserved. But I never had somebody feel betrayed by me that much. I don't think that I really burned anybody that didn't burn me first. I played very, very, very defensively, but also I was extremely offensive. Oh my God, I worded that weird. I definitely think that I took this game by the reins. I don't think that anybody can call me a coward. I don't think that anybody can say that I didn't stand up for myself, that I didn't stick to my guns, that I did not play for me. And I think that I definitely did play for the Pretty Committee, and I'm very, very, very proud of us as an alliance for making Final Three. But I did always kind of have in the back of my mind the thought process of, if we do make Final Three, where do I go from here? How do I get my way in a situation where I feel as though a lot of people see that the Pretty Committee was basically led by Soul, which I think that in a strong part, Soul was an extremely very strong strategist in our group, but I don't think that he always got his way. And I think that the later that the game moved on, the more I started to play a little bit individually rather than relying on people. And so I'm extremely proud of myself. I think that no matter who wins here, I am going to be proud of myself. I think that this season was such a blast. I have nothing but love for everybody on this cast. I think the production is so great. Thank you so much for an amazing season. And I guess I'll see you guys in the questioning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zach. Once again, very good statement on your end. We are waiting for Elijah to enter backstage. But while we wait, we bring Soul back as well. While we wait for Elijah, we do have some questions from jurors who were unable to attend tonight. I have Cupid in the comments of the YouTube asking if she can ask a question to you guys. Hey, if things get desperate, never say never. I'm going to start with our final juror, Bree. Bree is unable to make it tonight, but she did leave 2 questions to both you, Zach, and you, Soul. Soul, I'm going to do your question first. So Bree asks you, Soul, why did you back out of nominating Alejandro on your HOH at week 4?
Okay. Week 4, that night when we were staying up doing that HOH, I was getting really upset
Week
because
6.
I really just
Week 6.
hear me?
My bad.
Week 6.
Yeah.
Why did I back out of back during Alejandro week 6? Yeah. Week 6, yeah. That was my HOH train when I stayed up 11 hours to win that HOH. I was getting really upset that night because I was telling Alejandro to please just throw, and he wasn't throwing. And so I was talking in the Pretty Committee chat. I was debating going after Alejandro. I don't want to say I backed out of it because I don't think I was ever going to do it. It was just a emotional night. And then the next morning I knew, okay, I'm not going after Alejandro. That doesn't make sense. Alejandro is a good shield. He's a good ally right now. There's no reason to go after him. I know he's after Bree and Zach right now, but I can still try to use him to my advantage more than I can some other people. And like why I went after Elijah that week, I thought he was more threatening at that point than Alejandro was. And same with Ava and Emily. I thought they were less threatening there. And I just wasn't, I had more reasons to keep Alejandro in than I had other people. But I wouldn't say I backed out of it because I don't think I was ever going to actually do it. It was just some comments I made that night.
Okay. Thank you, Soul. Bree asks you, Zach, what move benefited you more overall than it benefited the entire Pretty committee?
Okay. Well, in a way, I guess it did benefit Bree as well, but I think that absolutely, the exact same week this was talking about, at the start of the week, I really, for the first time, I think bucked up to Soul in a way where I think we definitely had moments where I didn't agree with things that he was deciding to do or things that he was pushing into play, like earlier on, especially. But week 6 during the first cycle A, I think it was, originally his target was Ava. And just personally on which for Soul, I absolutely understand that Ava was somebody who had done what she had done for him to benefit him. And it was basically that Ava was a shield, Ava was a name that he could throw out when he needed to. But at that point, I felt that that was just showing that Soul was pretty connected to everybody and that Ava was the bottom of his totem pole. But for me, Ava was not the bottom of my totem pole. Ava was actually somebody that I felt I had an unspoken bond with. So when Soul was pretty open about wanting to push for Ava, I kind of took conversations that I had taken on the other side with Will and with Nas about trying to push Will as a backdoor target or something like that. And especially that morning, it kind of got really heated. It got really emotional. We argued a lot over this Ava plan. And I feel like I really tried to put my foot down week 6 to try and keep Ava in. And I think that overall, keeping Ava in was nothing but good for my game because I think without Ava, I would have gone in part 3 of that triple. So I think that honestly, of anybody, that only benefited me for Ava to not go that week, for Soul to veto Ava. Because Ava, at that point, I don't think fully trusted Soul, but I knew that Ava staying was good for me. So I guess I would say that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Zach. Ali is coming to join us here momentarily. However, we are going to move from our final juror all the way to our first juror in Elijah, who left a question for Zach. He asks if he wants me to tell you pretty much. Ask Zach if he truly did keep me the cycle I got evicted.
I did, yes. I had gone back and forth on it a lot, but I think what changed it, and honestly, I think this was the moment where I realized that I am playing it. I think honestly, that was the first thing that I did where I thought completely individually. It was obvious that everybody wanted Elijah out because nobody saw where he stood at. And I was going to go along with it for the second time in a row, even though I felt personally close with Elijah. But on the call, Kevin had said something. I think Kevin had made like a joke or like a comment like, you don't get to survive twice. And just the second that like I heard that, I don't know what it was, but it switched for me. And I was like, why am I voting at Elijah? Like Elijah's one of the few people that I feel I have an extremely strong bond with that I don't think it's necessarily weaker. I think that it was a beneficial mutual bond. So at that point, I was like, why am I voting on Elijah? So I switched my vote literally last second. I was like, you know what? I hope Kevin goes. So thank you for the question, Elijah.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Ali is here. I'm going to bring Ali on stage, our second juror of the season. And Ali will go ahead and ask his questions.
Hey y'all, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello,
Yo,
Ali.
get on video. What the heck's going on?
What's up? What'd you say?
Get on video. What the heck's going on?
Yeah,
I was gonna turn on my video, but then Soul asked me not to, so I didn't do my makeup.
Oh.
So I look ugly.
I feel like we should get on video. This is getting
Yeah.
interesting. This is one of Big Brother season 1 live jury Q&A. This is wild that we're not on video. This is going to be out for the world.
I
I
honestly can't, bro. I'm in my car. I look like a mess.
I look like a butch lesbian. I'll turn it on for a few seconds, and you'll see. Okay.
No, like
See, I look so bad right now.
no, you don't. You should like.
I
turn
look
on your video.
ugly.
You should like
I
talk
have
about
no
yourself in your
makeup.
game.
I had an
Huh?
allergic reaction the other day to a cleanser, so I don't have makeup on.
You look fine. You look great.
Thank you.
Cupid wants me to tell Ali. Cupid thinks you look very handsome right now, Ali.
Who? Cupid?
Showman.
So bad. Thank you, Cupid. I really appreciate it.
Thomas.
So, okay. If you can't, it's all good. I appreciate if you guys don't.
I can't. I can't.
All good, bro. All good.
Okay.
I'm just
So
staring at my
I didn't really prepare a question, but like I'll just talk to you guys. I have 5 minutes. I don't know why. Why like 5 minutes, bro? Give us like 10 minutes. Man. Anyways, So I thought you were like my final two, homie. Okay,
I
we were
know,
like
bro.
showing calls together.
Mhm.
You had like good calls, even though I kind of faked on the calls, but like you were like my number one every round.
Mhm.
So I kind of was hurt when you legit didn't even tell me like 5 seconds before that vote, being like, "Ollie, listen, like I didn't." I'm closer to Zach, which I would have respected. Okay, it's a game. We all expected us to lie to each other, backstab each other. I respected, homie. Like I'm not gonna go off at you. So why wasn't I not given that respect of being like it's not in the cards, or like I need a vote to evict you, rather than like you telling me you're gonna save me, and because I could
Okay.
go ahead.
You're asking about why I didn't give you a warning is the question.
Or like tell me like, listen, like I'm gonna vote to evict you, or I'm closer to Zach.
Okay. Okay, so when we were voting you out there, we were doing it. We had to use advantage too, otherwise it would have been close. I was worried if I told you, it could have gotten back to other members of the 5 Up or other people, and they could have used advantages to get Zach out. So I needed to keep that on the down low, like I did with other votes involving advantages. If it got out, people could have played advantages. Zach could have gone there. So that's why I had to keep it low. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you. I was super close to you out there. You're the only person to ever crack my top 2 besides Zach and Bree. You were number 2 at one point. I wanted to go far with you, but obviously I did what I had to do there, and I couldn't tell you because I was worried other people would find out and the plan would flip because of advantages and whatnot. Because I knew you had strong allies that could have played them to save you, and so that's why I didn't give you a warning. I apologize though.
It's all good, homie. It's a game, homie.
Yeah, it is.
I don't really. It's not that big of a deal to me. But it's gonna be hard for me to vote for you. But it's all good. I hope you do like win. Zach, you never burned me. You never like did anything. But like to me. But what was the biggest lie you told in this game that benefited you? And what was the lie? What's a lie that you did that you regret saying?
Okay. Can I say 2 things for the lies that benefited me?
100%. It's your final
Okay.
two.
All right. So this was kind of a consistent thing. It wasn't necessarily one instance, but I can give multiple examples on it. I definitely used to do this thing. Not even used to. I don't know why I worded it like that. I would kind of get information from Soul because Soul was connected to everybody, but Bree and I were his closest. So every single time, like the 5 or whatever, I knew about it the second it was made. So every time that something was said or done or something like that, like when Alejandro glitched me out of the HOH, the endurance one, we had basically been on VC, and he told me that you were cheering when Alejandro evicted or got me out of the competition. So at that point, I felt that the easiest thing that I could do was basically VC you before the triple eviction because I could tell you were kind of nervous about it, like because you were trying to figure out a way that you could efficiently survive it. But basically, I kind of baited you into naming the 5 a little bit, so that way I could confront people about it. And then if it came back on me, I could have been like, well, Ollie, you told me and not Soul. So I consistently did that about a few things. And then also I used to just do that about the jury. When I knew you guys couldn't defend yourself, I'd be like, oh girl, Ava told me. and then I would get away with it. But the one lie that really, really, really like burned me bad, and I necessarily don't think that it was completely on me, was before the Renom Cycle 4. I was so gung-ho with the VC Lions, you saw it in there. I was like, Gianna, we are going to stay. Gianna, this is so set and everything. And then the second that Emily got put up, I got screwed over because Emily, after I nominated her week 2, Emily, we were good. Like we made up, like we bonded a lot. So I was like, I'm not going to vote out Emily. There's no way. So I basically told Nas that I was in the middle. And so that kind of got back to Gianna as well in that sense, as well as me being like, Gianna, we are going to survive. So she was pissed at me when I told her that I was thinking about keeping Emily. And so I think that I probably should have just been honest with Gianna, or maybe just shut the fuck up and not have been so gung-ho like, girl, we're in this together. Like I should have just kept quiet. So I think that's it.
All right, good luck, everybody. I think that's my time. I don't know why I got 5 minutes. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I know. Appreciate you. Yo, stay on video. Zach, you look great. I don't know what you're talking about. And Soul, get on video, okay? All right, peace.
Bro, I can't, bro.
I look so ugly right now.
All right, peace. Thank you, Nathan, for the experience. I had a good time. All right, how do I leave?
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Ali.
Okay. Awesome. Great questions from Ali. But we are moving on to our third juror, who was Ava. She left you both one question.
Do you know that she's not here?
No. Well, her schedule was a little crazy. And
That is true.
unfortunately happened like right during when the finale and Q&A started. But she did leave questions. Godspeed. So Zach, we're going to start with your question first from
Okay.
Ava. She says, were you actually trying to work with me and bring me in on your thing, or was it just for show?
Oh, absolutely. Ava, I think where it's almost like kind of like what the Cookout did on BB, like the actual season, where each one of them kind of had somebody that they were close to. We kind of did something similar in the sense that Bree and I were close to different people than Soul was. So we kind of tried to go like on a cycle of like we would lose one of our people this week, and then after that, we would get out one of Soul's people. Ava was literally, I only had 3 people outside of the Pretty Committee that I actually was close with, and it was Ava, Emily, and Elijah. Ava, when Emily and Elijah both were taken out in the triple, I was so gung ho on Ava. I wanted Ava to be our final 4. Like, I wanted Ava to go all the way with us. Like, we made an alliance shot. Like, we were trying to DC with her. She had to go because her schedule was a little bit busy. I was so pissed that Ava like was put it next to me. I wanted Kevin to be the renom, not even like in a personal way. I just wanted Ava and I to both survive because I felt that that was one of the only relationships that I had actually had that was real. So absolutely, Ava, I did want to work with you, and you and Emily going back to back was literally the worst part of the game for me, I think. So
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. Soul, Ava asks you, did you ever think continuing to keep Zach was to your detriment? Why did you never make a move on him, who's arguably the flashier player and better at challenges?
Well, the big thing with Zach all game, talking about him as a threat, was because they're worried about them with challenges and whatnot. But that wasn't a concern to me because I knew I had Zach with me. I didn't feel a need to make a move on them because I didn't think they would ever make a move on me. So Zach was a crucial ally to me because they could win challenges to help further my game. The other people outside of the Pretty Committee, obviously, they were a big threat that should have been taken out because they were obviously a force. But for my game, never made sense, and obviously, it didn't end up to my detriment because we're here in the end together. So no, I don't think taking Zach out would have. Well, I mean, at the Ava vote, I do think there's benefits to me keeping Ava around there because if I kept Ava around, I had a lot of routes to go through the game. But obviously, my loyalty was to the Pretty Committee, so that's why I did keep Zach around there. But I don't think just because I kept Zach around inherently that was a bad move. It was more so the other opportunities I could have had with Ava. But no, I think I wasn't scared of Zach like other people were in terms of their threat level because they were a threat on my side. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Soul. We are moving on to, well, I would be their next room member, but Alejandro is not here and he did not leave any questions. So everyone say flop.
Flow.
Thank you.
blah.
However, we are moving on to juror number 5, who was Nos. And Nos, also not here. I don't know. Flop jurors all around. What a great season with non-existent jurors. Although they were there for the round table. So
Were they heated? Like, were they arguing?
no, I mean it was pretty civil. You know, it was
Okay.
it was a good discussion. If anything, it was a good little discussion. Nos asks, it's to both of you. Soul, I'll give it to you first. Tell me why your opponent does not deserve to win over you and why you deserve to win over the other.
Okay. So I think the big thing that makes me think I played a better game than Zach is I think I had far more agency within the game. Zach even said that I had a lot of the social connections for the Pretty Committee. I had a lot more options. Zach's options were the Pretty Committee and then like Emily and then Elijah who were getting out early. I had more and I had more options. I had more relationships to work with. Zach kind of had to fall back on us a lot in challenges. And also, they also needed advantages at 2 evictions to survive. At 2 different points, they would have gone home if it weren't for the experience station advantages. I never needed that. I was never in danger. I was never on the block. I never had any votes cast against me. So I think my game is better than Zach specifically because I think they needed more advantages to survive. I think I had more social agency than them throughout the game. Like, for example, in the final 5 round, I go in. I still final 6, final 5, like that whole phase. I still had Will, and Stevie on my side going after Zach and whatnot. Zach was their hand was kind of forced there. I still had options at every single point in the game that Zach didn't always have options with. So that's why I think my game is better than Zach's specifically. Zach, you can go.
Zach,
Oh.
go ahead. Same question to you. Hey, Zach, it might just be me on my end, but I can't hear.
I also can't
Oh,
hear.
sorry. My hair keeps hitting my mic up.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I would like to say a little bit of a rebuttal. But also, I literally have like a full thing written on this. Basically, I think the biggest difference between Sol and I is how we had an outlook on the game, and as well as the paths that we actually had to take. Sol, after a little while, I think the big difference is that my game had an upward trajectory where I really solidified myself as a consistent, like, I was winning things when I needed to win them. The people who I gave my word to, I was keeping it. There were a few instances where that kind of got like a gray area, like with Alejandro's renomination. I told him that he wasn't going up, but I didn't have a choice. It was him or Sol. I was constantly being real with people. I was constantly in power, keeping the people safe that I needed to keep safe. And on a social level, no, I wasn't connected to anybody directly, but my connection to Sol, me being Sol's 1 and 2, me and Bree, I knew all the information that he knew because he told me it all. So basically, I could move where I wanted to, and I could make moves and get people to say what I wanted in a way so I could kind of bait them into giving me information because I already knew it all from Sol. So I think on a social level and also on a threat level, later in the game, if Sol had gone up, I think that he would have gone just as easily as I would have gone. Like everyone wanted me to backdoor him on my HOH that I had won right before the final 7. I think I've won final 8 HOH. They wanted Sol to go up as a backdoor target because Sol would easily be voted out because at that point, my upward trajectory, his was on a decline. I feel like pre-jury, I almost said pre-merge, sorry, I've been watching Survivor. Pre-jury Sol was an absolute S tier. Like he was carrying like hard. He was connected to everybody. Everybody felt safe with him. I think that if they did power rankings every week, Sol would be 1 and 2, 1 and 2 every single week. I think Sol pre-jury was amazing. After that, because he was connected to everybody, he was constantly burning people, and those people had people that they're close to as well. So where he felt close with Will and everything, Will was doing the exact same thing to me that he was doing to Sol, where he was basically listing reasons why I should go after Sol. I don't think Will was necessarily loyal to either of us after a certain point. I think that people wanted us to go after each other. So us staying together was extremely strong. But I think that with him constantly burning people because he had made way too many bridges and kept on to people for too long, such as Kevin. Kevin is a good example of somebody he kept on to way too long because he thought that he could control him. He thought that he could use him in the way that he wanted to. But Kevin started kind of bucking out the people, started kind of pissing people off a little bit, and then he pissed Sol off. So then that was the first moment where Sol's social game really cracked because Kevin at that point was close to Alejandro, was close to Nas. I don't think that it was as clear cut as I was a threat and that my social game sucked. I think that it was pretty even in the fact that while I remained a threat, but I was going up because at that point I was starting to try and make strategic moves for myself. I think Sol was kind of messily going down on a social game in a little bit of a strategic way because at that point, if I had decided that I didn't want to work with him anymore, Sol would have like just gone home. So I think that it was mutually beneficial for both of us to be together.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Up next, we have our 6th jury member, a man who needs absolutely no introduction at all. Kevin is up next, and he is backstage. And let's bring him on in.
This is giving Maury. Oh my god.
Oh no.
He's backstage.
All right.
Well, congrats to you two both. Well, a little bit to one, more to the other, since, you know, I finally get to say whatever the fuck I want to say. This is what I'm going to say. You know, me and Zach, we had our little difference. At least you bucked up and we had our little talk. Had everything out on the table. My question to you both is, when did you let emotions get the best of you? And Zach, I will personally say this. I knew you had got the strategy, and I almost burned you as bad as I could. The only factor I played into this was I was worried about Will having the steal of power, and I could have went home. Had he not got those points, you wouldn't have got any information from me at
Mhm.
all. I knew something was up. I caught on to Soul because I was feeding Soul information that was getting leaked way too fast. So I started burning Soul as of Gianna, week of Gianna. My
Mhm.
question to you both is this: why would you let emotions get the best of you in this game when both of you have said it's just a game?
Well, going back to the first question, which was like, when was the moment that we let emotion get the best of us? I think that I really early on had a good chance because Mikey was kind of pissing everybody else off. Mikey, I think, was the first example of where I got into conflict and I tried to kind of play the victim card a little bit. And I can admit to that. I can definitely admit to the fact that I am bad about kind of being aggressive and then taking a back seat to it and then letting it play out and look like I'm in the right. Mikey, I could have worked with him easily, but he really pissed me off early on. So I was going to everybody, I was sharing my cards a little bit too much with people like Will, where Will I wasn't that close to necessarily. But especially, I think even when I argued with you, I really like that was the moment where I snapped a little bit because the entire season I had kind of wanted to confront people about things I knew through Soul, but he kind of reined me in a little bit and was like, well, no, 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 because that's going to get us in trouble. I think when I argued with you, and then also when I kind of let my relationship with Nas, because I felt connected to Nas too much, like just on a friend level, I think that that is an emotional aspect of it. I let Nas pretty much game wise walk all over me. Nas stole my vote. He glitched me out of 2 HOHs. And also, he put me up like 2, 3 times. No, 2 times. Oh, wait, no, no, no. Alejandro glitched me out.
Yeah.
But Nas was with him. But what's it called? Nas walked all over me, and I just let him because I liked him. So basically, I think that me kind of taking things a little bit like, because obviously when something goes wrong in the game, you're going to get aggravated, you're going to get pissed off, obviously. But I think that in the moment, sometimes I acted a little bit too rashly, but then let other people take the fault for it. So I think that that is the one downside to my game that is very, very like, I'm a bitch, like I'm a cunt, but I can take fault for that.
Okay. So you want to know like why I say it's just a game if I let emotion take the best. Okay. So when I say it's just a game, I mean that in the sense that whatever the outcome is, it's fine. It's like it's a game. Like I'm not. It's not going to be the end of the world. Well, but I let obviously it's not just a game. We're all people. Like Zach said earlier, we're not just pieces. We're people. So there's emotional factors that come into it. So there were times where I, especially in the second half, that I do let myself make emotional decisions. Like just my attachment to Zach and Bree, that it was inherently an emotional decision because I got very close to them. And when I turned on you, Kevin, like when I finally like flipped and sold out all the information you told me fully, that was admittedly a personal decision because I told you I had problems with our last call that we had, that I didn't like ways you were speaking to me. So that was a personal decision. But
But
when
can I ask a question and related to that
okay.
that because you said
Mm-hmm.
you said that was your turning point. You had already released information prior to that of my game
Yes.
to other people that had already been done. So your decision to cut me loose and say that was your turning point to cut me loose
All right.
was incorrect.
Can I specify then?
Sure.
Okay, so yes, I would leak your information pretty frequently. I did that with a lot of people. That wasn't specifically towards anyone. When I say turning point, that means like when I was done working alongside you. I would leak information, but that doesn't mean I was still gonna. But I was still like trying to work with you and protect you within the game in terms of not voting you out. But at that point, that was when I was done actually trying to move forward in the game with you. That's what I mean by turning point.
Okay. Okay. I will say this, Soul. You burn me once, you won't burn me twice. You will not get my vote tonight.
That's okay. No, that's fine.
Zach will
No,
have my vote for
that's
the
fine.
win. And the whole reason I'm saying this, that Zach will have it to me, because Zach will actually came and talked to me about said situation and apologize for said situation. Your response and how you acted was out of the game, calling me disrespectful. I would like receipts of where I was disrespectful, and we can have that discussion in the reunion when Cupid is back in the game. Because by far, you were the one who talked the most shit out of anybody. And if there is a villain award, you definitely 100% deserve it over me, because you three painted me to be some big asshole when I was the furthest thing from it.
Okay.
So you will not get my vote. My vote will go to Zach, and I hope every other jury member gives it to Zach.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
good night,
you.
gentlemen.
You too.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
He kind of ate. Oh my god.
Appreciate it as always.
He ate.
All right. Moving backstage. Up next, well, it's hard to follow that, so I feel bad for our next juror who has to go after that. That was fun. All right. Our next juror number 7. Fantastic individual. He's been sitting backstage for 40 minutes now at this point. So God bless him. Welcome, Will.
Hi. Hello. Yeah, so now I guess I have to ask a question to both of you.
Hello, Will.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I mean, kind of sucks because both questions kind of got like asked already. So I'll try to figure something out. Hold on.
Okay.
You're gonna take your
I
time.
guess I'll start with you, Sol, because I guess that's the part of the question that was like the least touched upon on your end.
Mhm.
Zach talked a bit about it like during Nas's question, but I want to hear like your version of it. So, like, do you think that once jury started, you started playing more emotionally than strategically? Because I'm asking simply because like strategically, your game was getting messier and messier every single round, and I feel like your game was getting more and more dangerous, whereas Zach was getting safer and safer, and that was mostly because of like the way you would go on for the votes and using like emotion in your actions that made it. I mean, I'll talk for myself. I lose trust in you this like longer the game went, to the point that at one point I trusted Zach more, even though initially we were like very, very close. So Zach, talk a bit about like your game being, I guess, messier and messier, but I want to hear like your point of view on that. I want to see like what you've seen basically.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree that my game obviously it went on a decline, but I still don't think that my game ever got to a point where I wasn't like locked in on it and trying to further myself, Like the final 6 round, who went up? Zach went up. I didn't go up. Stevie could have nominated me besides Zach. He didn't. So I think when Zach says I went on a downward, I still think even if I went on downward, I was still above Zach on that level. I know I was messy. I knew when I made moves I did, like the Ava round and other moves I made. I knew that was gonna be messy. I knew there was gonna be a lot of I needed to repair some damage with bonds, and I knew that I would lose trust in people. I was aware of all that. I was aware that it was gonna be messy because of the commitment I made to Zach and Bree. So I played around that the best I could. But I don't disagree with Zach that my game got worse, but I still think I had enough agency to keep myself safe and enough relationships to propel myself further and have more options than still Zach ever did.
Great, nice, thanks. Zach, here's a question for you now. This one I don't think was really asked. You talked about it a bit.
Hello, Will.
So, hi first. What is one strategic move you initiated? Like, I do agree you played like very solid defensive game, but like,
Mhm.
did at one point you attack?
Okay, so I've already touched on it a little bit. I think there's a few examples. Actually, I would say 3 good examples of me specifically doing something because I wanted to rather than somebody else, rather than somebody initiating it. I think first of all, Mikey was the first time that I think literally ever in an org that I have really no, I've only done 3 seasons, I know, but literally I think that was the turning point this season where I realized that I was in kind of a power seat. So with the Mikey situation, flat out, I just didn't like Mikey. So I kind of did shit talk him to everybody. And I think that in a situation where we had mutual allies, where at that point I was still good with Alejandro, at that point I was still good with Elijah and everything, and at that point they were working together. So I could have easily worked with Mikey. But I think that I used that personally to better myself in a way that I was now bonding with people, because everybody loves mob mentality. Everybody loves hive mind, having a villain that they can hate. And being able to provide one after Cupid left, sorry, Cupid, but after Cupid left, Mikey was easily the next target, because it was like everybody can come together and get on him. And I think that I was the first person who started that, because nobody really talked about Mikey. Secondly, I think the second round of the triple eviction, Ava getting vetoed, up to that point, I knew that they were supporting it because they knew that I was going to do it, but I was very, very, very adamant about keeping Ava in. Ava being vetoed, and then Ava using that double or her extra vote to save me in the third round, which if Ava did not do that, I would have gone home. So I think that at that point, me vetoing Ava, me telling, because I had VC'd Ali after I had won the veto, and he basically was like, I really would rather you not, like, I really don't want to. And I basically put him in a seat in a position where I think that it kind of did cause him to go home, unfortunately, because he did have to put up Elijah. And then also I did, oh my God, yeah, oh my God, Ali versus Nas. I started that on accident. I told Nas basically what Ali had told me on the VC, but that was out of a good place. I was trying to repair something where I felt Ali felt upset about something. So I was trying to help them. And then I ended up accidentally getting Ali targeted by like 3 different people who ended up getting him out. And then after that, the third thing, and this is the most recent by far, I think evicting Bree over Soul. Literally, I think 24 hours before I had to make that decision, I was in my DR like, oh, if I win, Soul's gone. Soul is going. He's going to beat me in the jury. He's objectively the better player. The second that it was revealed to me that Soul and Bree were together and that I was the third rung on the pretty committee, I realized at that point I had to play for myself. I wanted to win. And I think that objectively, I think I wanted to win more. I think I do want to win more. And when Soul basically begged me that if I won, I needed to take him out, but then I asked him, if you're on the jury, who are you going to vote for? And he told me he has to vote for Bree, just because they were close. So at that point, I was like, okay, so, but Soul, the entire game, socially, has pretty dominated the freaking pre-merge, or pre-jury, sorry. Oh my God, Survivor! The pre-jury, Soul was extremely well-spoken. Even if he didn't have these bonds of people, I think that Soul would be an extremely good person to have on your side in the jury roundtable, because he makes great points. He's an extremely intelligent man. So I knew that at that point I was a little bit screwed. And then on top of that, when I had talked to Bree and got basically nothing from her, I knew at that point that the plan was for me to go and for Bree to win. So I threw away my allegiance to Bree. Also I completely forgot to throw this in. I've known Bree. Bree and I played my first org together, and we had a final 4. And so I've known Bree for a long time. Bree and I were always a duo. You guys were always right. But
I didn't even know it was you.
oh, really? But what's it called?
I recognized Bree, didn't recognize you.
No, I was like, I've seen you in other servers. You literally won like the season before us or something like that. But
That's
basically, I think at that point when I realized that Soul's goal was not to win, Soul's goal was for Bree to win, I was like, oh no, Bree's got to go. So I threw away my final 2. I threw away my closest bond the entire season, because I realized that I would win. And so I think that that was completely my move. And I think that it went against 2 people that I really, really trusted and I love as people. But at that point, I think that I solely made that move for myself.
All right, well, thanks. I guess I don't have anything else to ask, really. So
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will.
Nathan, you can take me away, and good luck to you both.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Will.
Thanks.
And we've got one final juror who is ready to ask some questions. He's a man of
He's
many
here?
words. He is.
Woo!
Hey, you know what? Better now than never. I'd like to welcome our 8th juror of the season, Stevie.
Oh,
Oh,
how crazy is that? Oh my God, wait, you steal my outfit? That's so
Wait,
awesome.
the headphones and I'm gonna kill myself.
Well, I just wanted to say congratulations for the both of you for making it this far. You should be proud of yourselves. I just have one question to ask. That's all. I'm just gonna leave it really short, sweet, easy for you. So it's for the both of you. So one of you used me and discarded me when I was no longer useful, understandable, and the other barely acknowledged me at all throughout the game. So why should I reward a game that either manipulated me or ignored me entirely? So I'll
So you wanna
let
go
whichever one
first?
of you take the floor first.
You wanted to go first, Zach, or
I'm fine with either. Basically, mine came from, and I've said this before, and I literally told you guys all season, like, I really just am who I am. And oh, that sounds like such a cop-out answer, but genuinely, I don't like being fake to people. Like, even with Kevin, like, I told Kevin I didn't want to just straight up lie to him or something like that, where he gave me the information I needed to get the safety. I still
Mhm.
kept like 75% of my deal. I couldn't play the next competitions, and I didn't put him up when people wanted me to. I felt at that point, I knew that we weren't going to work together because I knew about the five since like week 2, 3. Like the second that it was made, I knew about it from Ali and Sol. So at
Mhm.
that point, I knew that I never had any social capital with you. And I basically, it's like if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. I wasn't necessarily targeting you because I feel like we didn't cross paths very much.
Yeah.
I feel like until the end, we really had no interaction other than just I felt like on a personal level, I thought you're a really cool person and everything, but
Mhm.
I knew that I had no pull with you in the game.
Yeah.
So in an attempt to be an honest, genuine person, as well as just not appear like a desperate asshole, I just kind of
Yeah.
stuck to my guns and was like, it is what it is. So I apologize if I made you feel ignored. That was not my
No, it wasn't
intention.
necessarily ignored. I was just like surprised because I thought like given our personalities and stuff, I thought like we would have
Hmm.
talked more. And I just feel like it never really got to that level. Like we could have been, closer in the game, which is fine. It is what it is.
Exactly.
But I just wanted to know like your thought process behind it because I had no idea.
I
So
just think I just think people got to you first. I was too
mhm.
late.
That's fair.
all right. Okay, okay. So you say you feel used by me, and that's valid. You know, it's a game, and I play hard, and I'm like I said in my speech, I was gonna lie to people. Like I was gonna say whatever I need to say at any point to
Mhm.
get myself to this point. And if you're hurt by that, I'm sorry. I never had anything against you personally. Like, but what was the question? You want to know why you should vote for me if you
I want to know why I should reward a game that either manipulated me or ignored me. What's going to be the indicator of who I choose?
okay. So the name in the game is they say lie, cheat, steal to get to the end. I said in
Mhm.
my speech, if you want to give the honor vote, then give it to Zach. I didn't play honorably. I'm not gonna act like I did. I didn't. I did what I did had to do to get to the point where I was against against whatever morals were on the table. So I'm sorry that if you felt used. I just felt like I did what I had to do to give myself the best chance possible to get here.
Okay, gotcha.
Can I
That's fair.
add
That's fair.
something?
Yes.
I think the argument that basically, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't think that my game was necessarily bad. And I don't think, in my opinion, I think that we're pretty on par with each other. But I think that when I say that I went on an upward trajectory and you went on a downward trajectory, touching on what Will and even Stevie now just said, I think that to a certain point at the beginning of the game, I was a great shield for you. But at the end of the game, you were a great shield for me because, like I said, you were connected to everybody. You were burning people every single cycle. So I feel in my own way that me kind of being honest and real with people and just trying to not piss people off because I just don't want to. I just don't want to be a mean person. I think that it is necessarily, I don't know how to explain it, but basically, I just think that we were pretty on par. I don't think that we were necessarily, I don't think you necessarily diffed me that hard.
If I can respond to the whole you burn people and I didn't. Da, da, da. Yes, I burn people, obviously, but I was never the one that ended up going up and being targeted. Like when Nas won HOH, they didn't put me up. They're second. They're one after their legendary status. They didn't put me up. They had put you up. When Stevie won HOH at 6, he didn't put me up. He put you up. Like, yes, I was
Well,
burning people. I would recover from that and use the relationships I had to get to where I'm at. That's what I mean when I
yeah,
say, yeah. Okay.
I think that that statement though can be said about both of us because I feel like I got the same result. Like I'm here with you and I won
Hmm.
my way here, but I also, my relationships helped me here just as much as your relationships with everybody. My relationships with just you, Bree, Ava, Emily, and Elijah, and myself. Like I got myself here. I feel like that's where I feel like I had a harder path because I didn't take the route of manipulating people and I didn't try and be a snake. We're here. We got the same outcome, and I feel like we are on par with each other. But I didn't have to use everybody. I didn't have to snake people. I didn't have to be strategically and socially dominant because I had solidified myself in a consistent spot that I knew that I could either save myself in if I couldn't, but I had close enough bonds with a few people that would save me rather than
Mhm.
having a bond with everybody.
And
Yeah.
my counter argument to that is because I had more bonds with everybody, that gave me more options than just, yes, you say you had a tougher road because you had less bonds. I had my own road that had its own bumps and its own ways, but I always had more options to navigate.
Well, but options aren't always valuable when talking about a game in the end because I had the option to put you up and backdoor you like 3 weeks in a row.
And I had the
So
same for you.
exactly. No, exactly. We both had options.
Yeah, but we work together. That's the whole point.
Oh,
But I'm arguing about
the girls are
Exactly.
fighting.
No, I
So
respect Soul so much. I love Soul as a person, and I
No,
think
same
just
to
at
you,
this
Zach.
point, we both just want to win. So
That's fair. Yeah. Okay, well, that's the
But-
only question I had. I just wanted to get both of your perspectives on that side of the game. So
I hate you for
what?
that.
I know it's like looking in a mirror, right?
Thank you, Stevie.
It is.
Thank you, Stevie. I think
Thank
we
you, Stevie.
got more than you bargained for with your question, So
Exactly. So
your
can't
impact.
be
Sorry,
mad about
Soul.
that.
All right. Thank you, Stevie. All right. That is all of the questions that we have from our jurors for tonight. However, you have now just one last chance to give your final to all the jurors as to why you deserve to win this season. Zach, you are up first. You will have
Okay.
5 minutes. That is it. When you see me pop up back in the stream, it means time is up.
Okay.
So keep it precise and concise. That is what my freshman English teacher told me, and it's stuck with me ever since. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. Once again, I did not write a closing speech. I'm not going to read anything off the paper. I'm literally just going off my bullet points. Like I said, and I'm going to restate it, I think that over the time of the game, I feel like I became more sure of myself and I became more proud of myself and more confident, and I trusted myself enough that I knew that I could go and that I could win this thing. I think that just as a person, Soul and I, we took different aspects, we took different morality levels and different humility levels, but I think that right here, we are here at the same outcome. We are both in the final two. We both have amazing games that we should both be proud of, and I think we both have an amazing chance to win. I think the difference is that I got here without the mindset that I could control people, and that was specifically a sentiment that Soul and I have argued over a little bit because I felt that it is too cut and dry to assume that in a game of gray areas, in a game of people's emotions, in a game of split-second decisions, that anybody can necessarily be controlled. I think that I made the connections that I need to get here. I didn't have to rely on being with everybody constantly to get here because I was getting information from the person who was with everybody. So I always knew everything. And I feel badly that I kind of didn't let people in on that because I let people look like an idiot a little bit. So sorry, Will, because I knew when people were not with me, I knew when people were against me, and I knew where I stood at all times. I think that I think that in my own way, I did kind of take the reins this season. Even just in competitions, I won 8 competitions. I won 5 HOHs and 3 vetoes. I made big moves on the fact that I personally knew that I wanted to be here. I knew that I was going to do what I had to win at a certain point while not compromising who I am as a person. So going back to Stevie, I would like to apologize. I know that I didn't talk to certain people for like days at a time. Sorry, Kevin. Sorry, Stevie. Sorry, Will. But I just understand that on a personal level, I am just not that person that wants to be fake. And I think that if you're going to vote, like Soul said, if you want to get the honorable vote, it would go to me. But I think that when you're looking for a representative of the season, I think that I would make a great case to represent the season. I wanted to be here. I fought to be here. I was determined. I never gave up. Absolutely, I think that I dominated. Physically, I think towards the end and like the little social comps and everything, I did flop a little bit. Soul did catch me in competition wins, but I have never been this proud of myself. I've done 3 org seasons. I've never been voted out. I constantly find a way to scrap. I wouldn't go home. I wouldn't go away. And I know you guys were a little bit annoyed with it, and I apologize, but I want to be here. I want to win, and I hope that you pick me to win. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So first, I just want to respond. I don't want to claim that I've ever controlled anybody. I don't think I controlled anyone. I think I had relationships that would keep me safe at different points. I don't think I ever controlled anyone. Everyone here made their own decisions. I would say things try to influence, but control is a drastic term to use there. But okay, I'm gonna get into my speech. Jerry, I know I worked my ass off this game. I wasn't without my messiness. I don't think Zach was either. And you are all obviously going to vote off based off whatever criteria you want. Maybe it is your social relationships. Maybe you value big moves. Maybe you value loyalty. Maybe the opposite. Maybe any combination of those things or others. Regardless, I'm not going to bore you with more specific moves. If you want to know anything, I'm obviously an open book. But no, 98% of the time I ever made moves, it wasn't because I looked at someone and said I don't like you, or because it was for personal reasons. I made moves based off my game position and what I believe I needed to do at that time. I think you're all great people, even you, Kevin. No question all times, but I think this is genuinely my favorite cast I've ever played with and forever. And I hope I get the opportunity to talk to many of you outside of the game, regardless of how you vote. For me, I've accomplished everything I've set out to do this season. I was looking for redemption for myself after some previous poor performances, to meet some cool people and just play the game that I love as hard as I could. And I believe that I've done that. And it's not all about the ending. The journey is important too. And I think when I look at that, I will be able to walk out of this with my head held high regardless. Thank you, Zach, for being amazing to me throughout the season. Thank you, Jerry, for each of you for being an important part of this crazy season and this journey. And thank you once again to Nathan and production for making all of this possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Soul. Oh, why'd I get huge?
Oh, sorry. My turn to get huge. How do I get huge? Move. Zach, get out of my way.
Oh, sorry. I'll turn my camera.
No, you're fine. I have to move it over. We're good. You can put your camera on. All right. Well, that is all of the questions that I have for both of you. Well, I didn't ask any questions. That is all the questions that the jurors have for both of you. This is where the game completely ends. You said what you needed to say. You got everything off of your chest. The jurors had their discussions earlier. All that's left now is for the jurors to make their final decision on who they want to win this season and get the $100 grand prize. I want to see once.
Yeah. Cupid's question. We skipped Cupid's question.
Well, that's fine.
I don't know what it was.
Neither do I. It's too far up in all the comments for me to even care to go back into. Again, thank you, both of you. Thank you, everyone, this season. I'll get more sappy about this tomorrow during the finale, which premieres at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will do our winner reveal awards season 2 for like kind of announcement thing. That promo video, oh baby, you weren't ready. I spent like 5 hours on that today. Season 2, baby, get ready because the budget is budgeting. I've got big boy money now, so get ready. For real though, thank you all so much. To all the jurors who attended, who joined on the stream, I appreciate you a lot. This has been actually a very good Q&A. No real hiccups, which is always a great sign of good things to come and good fortune. Also, thank you to my production, Mario and Panino. Both, I know Mario's been kind of checking out the comments here and there, kind of staying active. It's almost as if he's a viewer watching this right now. But thank you all so much for attending. I will see you all tomorrow. And jurors, you have until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to submit who you want to win. Repeat. Okay. We're going to have a winner by tomorrow. Thank you all.
Good luck, Soul.
Good luck, Zach.
Nothing but love. Nothing but love.